All right. Performance of the night is Casey and Beza. And the fight of the night was Vera versus Yudong. Tonight was a tough night to pick. No transports and no gate, no fans.
Dana, the main event, I mean, I think everybody wanted this feel-good moment for Walt Harris, right? I mean, but it's the fight game, and Alistair Overeem's a tough guy. But I don't know, it felt kind of deflating at the end there. Could you just say kind of what your feeling was like watching that and what you went and said to Walt?
Yeah, I felt like, I said to you guys a few days ago, win, lose, or draw, being here is a win for him. He got through tonight, and you have to understand that who knows what was going through that guy's body, head, the whole deal. And he got him in trouble. I think when he watches the tape, he'll realize he overreacted a lot and, should have slowed down and picked his shots. But you're in there against, one of the all-time greats in the heavyweight division, true veteran of the sport. He weathered the storm and he did what Overeem does. Yeah. And this is a learning experience in a lot of ways for Walt in his first fight back. And, he'll get better from this. In every way you can be better, from fighting to the other things that's going on with him.
Yeah. I was going to ask, did you get a sense of how he was? Obviously he's down right now, it just happened, but that was such a delicate position. Did you get a feel of kind of how he was when you talked to him?
Yeah, exactly how you would expect him to feel right now. Yeah. I think probably take him an hour to sit down and calm down, process what happened, and then when he goes back and watches the tape of the fight, he'll know all the mistakes that he made.
Yeah. I know you're not necessarily a sentimental kind of guy sometimes, but hey, man, the week is in the books. 3 shows are done. You got it done. This is history, right? This is the first sporting organization back. What's the feeling for you right now?
Feels good. I'm happy to have it behind me. I wanted this week to be over, and was successful in every way it could be successful. I feel great about it. More importantly, nobody's sick. Nobody's sick. Nobody's gotten sick. And hopefully that's the case. There's no guarantees in life, but hopefully that's the case when we all go home. It was a great event. It was a great week. And I think we picked the perfect place to do it, too. This town was perfect for it. Like I said, the governor and the mayor and the athletic commission and everybody was great. This arena was incredible. These guys were great to us. I don't know what your experience was out in Jacksonville, but everybody was nice. It was great. The food was awesome. I just couldn't say enough good things about Jacksonville and the experience here. So I'm glad we did it here first. So I'm ready to go home, though.
I think we all are.
Yeah.
You're on a panel with some pretty important people in the rest of sports as well. I'm curious, have you had conversations with the other sports leagues? Have you had any advice to offer them other than come to Florida?
Some people have had we've sent the document to, but it looks like, first of all, when you look at the people that run these other sports, these are all really smart guys, and nobody knows their business better than they do. They know what needs to be, you basically just, first of all, this arena is what's the thing that they have? Shield, Venue Shield, is this project that they have where they come in and they literally clean the venue from top to bottom, which is huge. Then there's things like just little things, the details you wouldn't think about. You saw the guys spraying down the octagon, wiping down the octagon between every fight. Like our headphones used to just be laying on the thing. Now they're in these packages that say that they've been sterilized. And all these little types of details that those guys would know better about their business than any of us ever would. That they have to literally sit down and break through item by item on what they need to do and how they need to make it as safe as they possibly can. And they'll figure it out. These are all smart guys. Yeah. These are all smart people that are running these companies.
And there was a ton of attention on these 3 events and the safety and all that. All this protocol that was followed this week in Florida, is that essentially the way you see UFC events being done, like at the Apex, on Fight Line, all the same type of protocol?
Yeah, this is what we're going to do. Listen, obviously, you guys know me. You've dealt with me long enough. You know, when we're doing what we're doing, and you're just taking unnecessary punishment, you know what I mean? You know I'm gonna fucking snap eventually, and I do. But you know, we worked hard. We worked hard to pull this thing off and to get here. And you know, nothing means more to me than the safety of everybody that was involved in the event. You know, not just with COVID-19, but you know, fight that wasn't stopped soon enough, or you know, and all these type of things. So every time we finish an event, you know, I want everybody to go home safe, and it's not any different now with the COVID-19 thing. And we will do everything in our power. We will spend the money. We will get the best, the brightest. We'll talk to doctors and, you know, experts in the field, and to figure out how to beat it. One of the things that I always do is I believe that nothing is impossible. Everything can be done, especially in 2020. And you just have to be willing to work hard enough, spend some money, and come up with solutions. And that's what we did this week.
Looking to the future, May 30th, you were hoping to have in Las Vegas. Any updates on that, on where we stand? Is May 30th going to be able to happen at the Apex?
I don't know yet, but yeah, that's what we're working on. That's what we're hoping for.
Right.
And once May 30th is on, we're rolling now. If we can't get May 30th at the Apex, it's going to be super disappointing, but we will go somewhere else.
You'll definitely have a card on May 30th.
100%.
And then we noticed tonight in the advertising for UFC 250 that had been announced for June 6th. Now it just says coming in June. So is that not happening June 6th, or do you know what's going on with that?
What did they do?
Just said coming in June. It used to say June 6th.
Yeah, well, first of all, nothing has mattered to us but this week right now. This is all we care about. Getting through this week. We go home, we start getting back in the office next week. You know, all of our employees are being tested right now. So we're testing the whole company, and then we're going to get everybody back to work. And the matchmaking meeting is Tuesday, so we'll get our shit together next week.
Sounds good. Well, I'll ask you one anyway. Last one for me. There was one fight that guys are going back and forth with each other on social media. That's John Jones and Francis Ngannou. Both seem to be wanting that fight. They say it's a big money fight. UFC's got to bring the big money. What do you think? It seems to be getting fans pretty intrigued. Is that a fight that you at least see as possible?
Yeah, I mean, anything's possible. I mean, I don't know if those guys really want that fight. You know what I mean? Let me tell you this, and I'm not saying this is the case with these two. You see a lot of talk online and whatever it might be, but actually making fights is a whole nother ballgame.
Just a lot of the talk about these three events have been there's no other sports on. From what you've seen, do you believe you've gained new fans who haven't watched the sport before?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, hopefully that's the case. That would be awesome. But listen, it wasn't even about that. It was about, you know how strongly I felt that we could do this. So it's really what it was about for me.
Eddie Hearn just announced his plans to bring boxing back in the UK. I was reading his plan. I have to say it seems very similar. Hotel, test the fighters when they arrive, socially distanced, digital media days, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is he one of the guys you've spoken to about getting events back on?
No, he and I spoke, but you know, it was more just like he said, "You're a crazy motherfucker. Good luck tonight." The night of the fight. So that kind of stuff. No in detail talking.
Cool. I know you said the matchmaking meeting is on Tuesday, but in regards to Fight Island, do you have an idea of who you'd like to see feature on that card, and do you have guys training for that date? Or
No, I have no idea yet. Right. We'll figure that out. I mean, guys are training. People are training right now. People want to fight. So I don't see an issue making a fight with anybody right now. And other than Rose, there might be others. So this isn't, you know, I don't know if this is a fact, but I don't think there's anybody else that's brought up any issues about fighting right now.
Okay, and last one from me. I know you said you prefer the crowds and you prefer the energy they bring. But having seen some of the fights we've seen over the past week, any argument that somehow having no crowds could negatively affect a fighter is out the window, right?
Yeah, well, that was out the window anyway. I mean, I've been doing The Ultimate Fighter, for 15 some odd years with no crowds, and then we're doing. Hello? There we go. I've been doing The Ultimate Fighter for 15 some odd years with no crowds, and obviously the Contender Series, and some of the best fights you'll ever see are on there. What was cool about tonight that was different for me, or this week, I mean, and for you guys too, was fights of this level with no crowd. Big difference.
Dan right here. A lot's obviously been made of Walt's situation, but of course Alistair Overeem won the main event. What did you make of his performance? I feel like the last 10 years a lot has been made of his chin or lack thereof, according to fans and pundits, but you saw he took a lot of damage in that and still came back. So what did you make of it?
That's crazy you say that. I said during the fight, I was like, damn, when did he get a super heavyweight chin? He took those big shots and recovered. Yeah, he looked good,
And then there were several split decisions on this card. A lot of argument online. I think it was the co-main event between Angela and Claudia, the Song Yadong and Vera, and then one more escapes me. But did you agree with all of the split decisions on there?
I gave Gadelia 1 and 3. I missed the Vera fight because I was talking to somebody, and then what was the third one? What was the third one?
The Ige Barbosa.
Who?
Ige versus Barbosa.
Oh, yeah. I had Barbosa winning that fight.
What did you make of how do you think Barbosa looked at featherweight against him?
He looked good. He looked strong. He looked strong. But Ige was, you think about it, that's actually his weight. He looked tough. He looked good in his first real nasty fight against a guy who's been around forever and a guy who came in great shape, looked good. Barbosa gets in there and starts kicking and punching, and he starts to gas midway through the second, and he did not gas tonight. He looked good, especially for a guy that cut that much weight.
And then earlier on the card, I don't know if you heard, but Nate Landwehr was screaming your name.
Oh, I heard it. Yeah.
Have you spoken to him?
There's like 6 people in there. I heard him screaming. Yeah, that guy was a nut. That was a fun fight. It was a fun fight, and that guy was fun.
And then one final one. Arizona Governor Doug Ducey announced all sports are going to be open, all professional sports. If you can't get the Apex,
that's where I'll go.
It would be Arizona?
That's 100% where I'll go.
Thank you.
Yep.
Dana, this week on Fox, they've been promoting the NASCAR as being the first big live sporting event.
Have they really? Eric Shanks, you dirty bastard.
And not mentioning the UFC already having 3 shows before then.
Well, Shanks, the president of Fox called me, said congratulations, and somebody had to. So, I would call it more of an ESPN versus Fox thing than a UFC slap in the face. I have an incredible relationship with Fox, and you never have and you never will hear me say a bad word about Fox. Without Fox, there is no ESPN, and those guys were very, very good to us for the entire relationship, and I loved the time that I spent at Fox, and it's all good.
With this week being over now, a historic week in UFC and MMA history, I would say, how would you rate this 1 to 10?
What's the question again?
This week, how it's gone with the 3 fights.
Oh, yeah.
How would you rate this as 1 to 10?
What's best, 1 or 10?
10.
It's a 10.5. It was awesome. The key to this week was, not a lot of people testing positive for COVID-19, and or nobody getting sick, during the week. So it was a home run, and I couldn't be happier.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dana, you mentioned earlier in the press conference a lot of talking on the internet. What's next for a guy like Colby Covington, and what's been the biggest roadblock for getting him booked for a guy like Tyron Woodley?
Yeah, like I said to John, I don't know yet. You know, we got to get home. All I've been thinking about is this week and getting this week done and getting this one under our belt. And then we'll go back. And then now I got to get the thumbs up for Nevada, which is hopefully, you know, we're doing this next fight in the Apex. Because if not, then, you know, we'll be working on Arizona next. So I just want to, I don't know, I'm not even thinking about that stuff right now.
Gotcha. But just curious, last week GSP was announced into the Hall of Fame. Was wondering over the past few months there was any kind of conversations with him, trying to bring him back for another fight, if he had any interest in any fighting, or he was completely checked out?
Yeah, no, I don't think, we haven't talked about him fighting at all. You know, I called him that night to let him know that he was into the Hall of Fame. He texted me back later. But we haven't talked about fights since his last fight.
And lastly, read the San Diego Tribune article about your son. Congratulations. Didn't realize you were an avid surfer. Does this mean that Fight Island's going to be somewhere like on a beach with waves?
My surfing days are way behind me. I don't mess with that anymore. But yeah, I love surfing. I have a surf show coming out. We start filming here pretty soon, actually, in the next several weeks. It's going to be on ABC. Yeah, no, I'm happy for my son. San Diego's awesome, and he loves football. He's super passionate about it, and yeah, and his first PR.
Thank you.
He likes the media better than I do. He's had a good run.
Anyone else?
Good?
All good.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.